We are breaking across two breaking inputs here coming in. This is coming in on a very tragic note. This was looking very grim, unfortunately here. This is now a confirmation. Our former President of India, Pranab Mukherjee, has passed away. Pranab, as he was fondly called by many, has breathed his last. He has passed away. Remember, we were, of course, keeping track as far as his health bulletins here were concerned. He had slipped into coma. He was facing organ failure here. He was in septic shock, is what we were informed earlier today, and he has now succumbed. This has been a very tragic passing away. We have with us our managing editor, Vinay Tiwari, getting us those details here and further inputs that would continue to get in. Vinay, this is, we were of course hoping against hope, keeping our fingers crossed, given the age, given what he was suffering from, that there could be some recovery, but sadly there hasn't been.
Yes, and I think what probably compounded the medical condition was the fact that he had his injury of the fall in the middle of a pandemic. And when he was taken to the hospital, he unfortunately tested positive for COVID as well. And that, I'm sure, added to the complication and recovery process. At this age, it does become difficult for doctors to sometimes work on, on a complete recovery process and also a complete healing process. So, yes, very unfortunate. And I think, the original fall, especially, at an age like this, can lead to a clotting. And can create complications, which obviously this time proved fatal, despite obviously the best efforts that the doctors had.
That's right. Vinay, as we were, of course, on Mirror now, keeping track of the latest, the health bulletin that we were keeping informed of. It was gradually slipping. We were told of lung infection that further spread, because of which he then slipped into coma. And then the last we had heard, which was as early as today, this morning itself, that he was in septic shock. Which means that, of course, his system was really struggling, and understandably then could not sustain any longer.
Absolutely. And when doctors use the term septic shock, that pretty much is a bit of a medical term that pretty much tells that in the post-operative recovery phase, the infection, instead of actually reducing, is spreading further. And that is what they meant, because the minute the infection spreads further, the body goes into what is called a septic shock. And that shock in itself can sometimes be life-threatening, which happened in this case. As I said, the issue of him having turned COVID positive could have played a role in it, but the fact remains that he had the best possible medical support. The doctors tried very hard in the last couple of weeks or so, and I think every day when the bulletin, or every alternate day when the bulletin was being released by the RR hospital, what was heartening to see was that he was stable, but what was slightly worrying was the fact that he was not showing much improvement. I mean, he was in coma and on ventilator support, and he continued that way, even as everyone else was praying that he should come out of it. But that obviously didn't happen, and the doctors finally lost that battle.
Right. Yes, we're getting in more voices here, Vinay, with us as well. We have Mr. Javed Ansari, senior journalist, political analyst, with us here. Appreciate you being with us, Mr. Javed Ansari. Your first reaction to what has come in, of course, we are going to be taking into account immediately on what a loss this has been to the country for someone who's had a phenomenal political presence in so many decades of India.
He was an